What's up? I hit that live button every time. It just makes me giggle. Only people ever see that is the replayers. The replayers. All right. Excited to be on here today. Rock and roll, my friends. It's going to be a good one. A number of little things been popping up. I was sitting here actually a little longer than usual, thinking about what I might say on today's live. For those of you who are new here, I do stream in multiple places, just so you know. And my main place that I keep track of is on my personal page. So if you follow me there, you can click my profile wherever you are, but that's where I'm keeping track of the comments mainly are on my personal page. And so I'm typically doing these lives Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Wednesdays I do a special one where I do some one-on-one coaching sessions on Zoom for about an hour and a half. Fernando says, doesn't know if this is live or replay, but always love it. Fernando, obviously I called you out, so this is obviously, this is live right now. And so excited to be on here and to talk about this topic of does confidence or clarity really matter to succeed in business? I got a message right before I got on here and from Jeff, if Jeff's popping on, and says, he says, so I was thinking some topics and some things that have been coming up over and over in my mind, and it's reaching out to those larger clients and stepping away from the smaller clients that you've been taking. I think myself and others would love to hear your story again and how you reached out and your approach for filling a need for a business. So, you know, it's really interesting because I think that what I do know with absolute certainty and conviction is that I can look at my life and the lives of those around me that I've had the honor and pleasure to work with and coach and that were my video clients and everywhere in between. And I can see in my life a direct correlation to the amount of clarity, certainty, confidence, and conviction that I had in what I did, correlated as a collective whole on the regular to the people I worked with and what I got paid. So can you have success? Well, I think in and of itself, one thing to keep in mind is to define what success is. The more vague we are about what success is or that we want to make more money, then, you know, a person who's making $100,000 a month, making $6,000 more a month doesn't mean much, right? But for a person who's making $500 a month, $6,000 a month would be quite the blessing. And so when I like to think about success and defining success to begin with, you know, some people just being able to do, I just put a post up about, do you love what you do? Some people just getting to do that which they love and get paid to do it is success. Some are defining success that they have to get out of debt and they have to make $100,000 a month or $20,000 a month, or they have to work with these big clients. Well, what does big mean? You know, there's a guy the other day, he said he was asked, you know, what size businesses do you work with? And he said, I work with $500,000 to $1 million size companies that do that much in revenue a year. And the person said, oh, wow, that's pretty small, right? And he's thinking, oh my God, those are huge. Right? And so I'd love to know in the comments for you, based on the question that I was asked, what is success to you? What is a big number to you? Right? Like right now where you're at, what would be big to you? What would be like, oh my gosh, right? And so what I want you to sit here with for a second, just in the context of this clarity and confidence, how clear are you on who you want to work with? How clear are you on what it is that you do? How confident are you in what it is that you do and what it is that you offer? And I know that when I started my company, my belief was, who's going to pay me more than $500? I'll never forget, I did my first wedding back in 2005, and it was for $500. And I got a sample DVD from my mom. My mom cleans houses. And my mom, somebody got married and they had a DVD done. And that was my only example to look at. And I looked at that and, you know, I had charged $500. I kind of emulated that. But then I asked my mom, I was like, well, how much did they give for this? And the interesting thing is they got like $1,800. And I thought, oh my gosh, these people are taking such advantage of these people. That's horrible. I can't believe this. That's so much money. I'm such a blessing to these people. It's so great because, I mean, I'm just given such a deal because the 18, 19-year-old me that, you know, for one singular thing had never been paid $500 was like, oh my gosh. I remember getting $250 to go out with two of my buddies and do a shoot. And we were gone all day long on this project. It was $250 and we had a blast. And so, and then as I grew, as I experienced different things, one of my big epiphanies was I kept getting referrals from this one photography company, and these referrals were coming through, and I was just doing like $500 to $1,000, and I was like, oh, okay, something's a little wrong here. I'm getting $500 to film this wedding, and they're getting $6,000 for the photography. So, and I thought they were great people, so I didn't think they were taking advantage of people or anything. And so, you know, what is your relationship to money? My relationship to money was bad for a long time. You know, my idea of what large was has continued to evolve. But I can say with absolute certainty that my clarity and my confidence in who I am and what I do and what I offer and how I do it and who I do it with, et cetera, is in direct correlation to the success that I, quote unquote, I mean, I feel successful all the time in and of itself, but for the context of success in business, my success in business has been a direct correlation to how confident I am in what I do, how clear I am in what I do. Because if you imagine for a second that you're having a conversation with somebody, and inside your head, you're not confident in what it is that you do. You're not clearly able to articulate what it is that you do. Then no matter what kind of comes out of your mouth, if you're confused about what you do, if you're confused about how it can help, what I've found is the people who spend more and more and more and more and more and more money typically require higher levels of excellence and conviction and certainty. Not always, right? There's always exceptions to everything. But I find as a rule that the more I got paid in video production, it was in direct correlation to the certainty and conviction in what it is that I did. So my question to all of you, I'd love to know, can you guys hear me too? I pull my thing back open here. If you're enjoying this, give it some likes and love. And like I said, I'm over here on my main page on Michael Gebbin. You can click that. Gebs86 is my profile. It's with me and my wife. That's where I'm checking the comments the most. But I also have another thing comes up on my streaming software that shows me comments from different places. So let me know that you can hear me. Let me know if this is resonating or not and where you sit. I know a lot of people through the years I've found just like to listen to me, which is fine and dandy. And then I get private messages. But whatever floats your boat, that's fine. I'm here to give you a mind tune-up, give you the ability to think a little differently, expand your mind. That's my real goal with what I do here is that I'm not here to talk about, for me, I'm not here to talk about technical and tactics because really the topics that I'm covering here, the truth of the matter is that the confidence and clarity, no matter what program you buy, no matter what book you read or video you watch, if you find these tactics and these technical things and technically you are not confident or clear about what you do, then what I find is that you're speaking a bunch of mumbo jumbo to people. And it doesn't mean you won't book people, but if you inherently do not believe in what you do and who you are and what you offer and you're not confident in it, then you might never tell that to people, but people will feel it. People will get that vibe off of you. And so that's why usually we get lower and lower rates. With my coaching, the more and more confident I am in how I actually help, what results people can get, then the better everything happens in my life and in my business, right? But when I'm like, well, if somebody asks me, well, how are you going to help me? And I'm like, for a long time I used to say, this is literally what I'd say. First, let me do a video. So in video, my same-day edit was one of the main things that I loved doing. I did my first one in 2006. And I'll never forget, I looked out to the peers. I looked out to the forums. I looked out to the Facebook groups didn't exist back then. It was just forums on websites. And I'll never forget, people like, oh, you got to charge for that. Don't be one of those people. You can't give that away. They would say all these things that would kind of be very shaming me for doing it for free or giving it away. But I really didn't have any confidence in what it is that I was doing. So you can imagine that if I had this thing that people understood and I knew what I was offering, but then I went on to describe to somebody who had not experienced it, had not experienced this video, and I go on to describe, well, I've got this video, and mind you, in 2006, 2007, same-day edits at weddings were not a normal occurrence. And so I'm describing, first off, they see a video that they didn't even know wedding videos could be good. And this can apply to whatever it is you're doing. I want you to keep in mind, whatever it is that you're doing, to what degree of conviction and certainty do you have in it? Because what I'm going to describe here is how I felt and what people received and what they more than likely interpreted it without confidence or clarity. So I knew I liked this thing. I knew people liked it. But that's as far as I had with my conviction and confidence in that. So what happened was, I'd try to sell this thing as an extra thing. So I was bulking it up, doing all these other videos because I'm like, well, nobody will pay me. Who would pay me at the time $3,500 for one video? I mean, I've got to offer a whole bunch of videos. Again, if you're on live right now, give it some likes and love. Let me know you can hear me and you're enjoying this and it's resonating. If you have any questions or thoughts, let me know. Do these on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, typically right now. And so for those of you catching this and popping on at different times, I know people like coming in at different times all the time. But so when I'm getting asked questions like, wouldn't it be better if you had more than 2 hours to edit the video? Or why would we want to do that? Well, the non-confident version of me is questioning myself. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I had no conviction. So if they're asking me, wouldn't the video be better if you had more than 2 hours? They don't know. Common knowledge says the more time, energy, and effort you put into something. Now, this is not my belief anymore at all, because there is no direct correlation to the actual hours and effort and time you put into something to the result always. Yes, it can make a difference for sure, but there's not always, I put 30 hours into this and this is going to happen. Somebody can put 3 hours into something and get the same result. Maybe not consistently, maybe consistently. But so if they're asking me that and I'm going, well, I don't know, then what do you think they're interpreting that as? They might not be a fully conscious thing, but if they ask me, wouldn't it be better if you had more than 2 hours? And I say, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I might as well be like, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, sounds like he's not going to make the best video. Let's pay that guy extra money to not do his best work. Right, so think about you when you're talking to people, interacting and trying to, if you're in service-based businesses where you're doing things, videography, web design, copywriting, these different things that are out there, and you're talking to somebody and you have no conviction that what you do is great, it's your best, that you're going to get great results, and you're just kind of like, well, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I've done this 2 times. Now, that's fine. We all have to start somewhere. Be at peace with where you're at in the trajectory of your career. But to some, we get really, 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 really good, which is part of this story here. And the truth of the matter is I still didn't believe. Or you're really, really good at what you do and you don't believe in yourself. And people are telling you and you don't believe. And so you put up this force field. And so you're still getting low rates or low amounts of money for what it is that you do, even though you're excellent. Versus you wanting to get high rates, but you have no confidence in what you do. So I couldn't sell that because I didn't believe in it, right? Now, when things shifted to where I went from the person in my mind who said, who will pay me more than, who would pay me $3,500 at this time for a wedding for one video? That was my thought process. Well, guess what? It rarely ever happened because that was what I thought. Who would do that? That'd be crazy. One video? Who would ever do that? And how many of you can relate to the thing that you have? You might see people out there charging or doing certain things, but there's so much disbelief that it'd be possible for you that you're wondering, you're maybe wanting it, but you don't understand why you're not getting it, right? And there's this gap. The gap isn't an ad strategy. The gap isn't some lingo. The gap's an internal shift inside of you. Because my work didn't change. Nothing on the external changed for me. It was all internal that changed. And when I changed that, everything externally changed. I keep saying this. So when asked the same questions, because the same questions still got asked, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't that I didn't get asked the questions. It's just that rather than being like, yeah, I don't know, I said, well, here's what I can tell you. Other people might need 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 hours. I don't know. Right? So I still was, I don't know. But I can tell you I make the best video that I make when I do a same-day edit. Right? So this conviction, this certainty that when I do this work you're saying you like, and you're talking to me right now about potentially booking me, when I do it this way, it's how I create excellence. So I don't create excellence in the alternative way. So if you like me and you like my work, this is me kind of talking to all you listening. If you like me and you like my work at this point in time in video, then this is how I do it with excellence. So if you liked me and liked my work, what other choice do you have? You're no longer questioning whether I need 30 hours to do it. Maybe other people do, but this guy doesn't. Versus, well, I don't know. I mean, you could be right. Maybe I do need a lot more time. So with my coaching, for a long time, I had people here and there, and I got them results. But people would ask, well, what am I going to get? What kind of transformation? How's it going to, how's this going to go down? How's it going to work? And I would say, just like before, I don't know. Except for the I don't know was weak. Because I'm like, I don't know. I just spent a day with somebody and their life changed. I don't know what happened. I just talked. But it felt so accidental to me. So therefore, when you're trying to help somebody, whatever your service is, if you have no conviction that it can help, people don't want to pay a premium for something without conviction. Some people might, if again your threshold of money. I remember a guy that I worked with as a coach. He charged $250,000 to a person for 4 calls a month, 90 minutes apiece, and that was it. And he said your wife's horse carriage was $175,000. So for you to take this seriously, we're going to have it be more than that. And the guy couldn't deny that. Like, this guy's ballsy, this coach guy that I work with, but there was that idea of like, that money to him was small. And that's what he needed to take it seriously. Some of you are like, my God, find that person. I got another buddy, $25,000 retainers for 5 to 10 hours worth of work. I have had my mind blown in the last 24 months of what is possible. So I put a thing up yesterday about scale and this idea that, I said to somebody yesterday, they said, well, it's not scalable or whatever. I'm not doing that because there's not as, like, they were talking about weddings. They said, well, they're not as scalable as this other thing. And it's like, well, that's your belief. I've had different people tell me and connect me with people who get $100,000 a wedding. Is that normal? Is it commonplace? Are there like 300 videographers out there that get $100,000 a wedding? No, because 99% of the populace would go, that's impossible. That's not possible. I can't do that. And as soon as that's our belief, then the reality is it will not happen. You'll never be around the people who would be convicted and convinced to pay you that if you don't believe that. And so ask yourself, if you're listening here, does clarity and confidence necessary to succeed in business? 1, define what is success. What does that look like? If you have no clue what it looks like, if you have no clarity on what that looks like, what kind of life you'd like to live, what kind of activities you'd like to do, really what you'd like to offer, don't be surprised that you have no idea what you want, that you get a bunch of, I don't know, I get a whole bunch of little bit of everything. That was my company when I started. Geb's Total Video, my production company, was anything for everybody. So I get a little bit of everything. Sometimes I get a $1,000 project, but then I get $50 and $20, and I got everything all over the map. But I also didn't believe that I was worth it. I didn't believe that I could charge more, right? And I see a direct correlation in my life and those that I've worked with. When we can shift the internal game, everything changes. Right? People whose work is incredible, but they're not making much money, but they've got some demand, they've got some people interested in what they do. Some shifts inside make all the difference. It's not, and I'm saying this with conviction because I wasn't convicted by this before, right? That was the thing. People would say things about my energy and my personality and my infectious smile. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, it's my video. It's my whatever. Like, I would want to point at some physical thing. And I'm here to tell you, after 14 plus years of being self-employed, entrepreneurial person that has not had employment at an actual job being an employee, since I had worked at a beer distributor as a breakage boy when I was like 12 through 18, that there is this direct correlation to the inside game. I never got it. I never understood it for the longest time. So I did so much more by accident until people came into my life and said, you can be on purpose. You can be intentional. You can start getting results regularly in certain areas rather than feeling like it's accidental, right? How many of you can say that you feel like you have absolutely no rhyme or reason to when anything's going to happen ever? So you're scared and you're anxious and you're worried all the time, right? And what I'm going to say earlier in regards to break people's minds open is that for a decade, I wanted to do and work one-on-one with people. But the people I found and focused on didn't like coaching people one-on-one, right? And so they're like, well, it's not scalable, it's not leverageable, until I found coaches who were doing $500,000 to $1 million+ one-on-one with almost zero to no employees or no help. I've seen video production companies that two-person companies doing $300,000 to $800,000 and keeping the majority. I've seen $1 million production companies that don't keep $80,000. There's lots of ways to do things. I assert that we all have a choice. We can do things in really difficult ways that are hard and lots of effort, and we don't enjoy it, and we use words like hard and grind, because I'm not saying we don't put in time, right? But there's a big difference. I'm sure most of you would agree. There's a big difference between doing 12 hours in a day of something that you absolutely love and time just evaporates. You're like, oh my gosh, and I can't wait to do it again. I can't believe it was 12 hours. And another thing where you're like, oh my gosh, only 30 seconds have passed. Right? And if I get on here right now and I slow my pace, we'll see how long people who've never heard me speak want to stay on if they just popped on right now. And I just say, hey guys, I really believe in what I'm talking about here. And if you've enjoyed this live so far, I hope that you'll hit that like button. I hope you'll leave me a comment, because I'm Michael Gebbin, and I appreciate you being on here today. Now, if I was Mr. Rogers, that's a different story. Mr. Rogers reached millions of people, and he was a soft-spoken person with so much love and compassion for people, and he made a huge impact on this world. And he didn't have the high energy I have. And I'm going to share a video with all of you right now if you haven't seen it, so you can see that I haven't always been this way either.
In 10 years, I hope to have a very successful business with my video production stuff. As you can tell, I'm not the actor. Not at all. I like to be behind the camera in front of this, you know, putting stuff together. An amazing 2011. I started with nothing, and I've surrounded myself with really good people. And, you know, anything's possible. I'm kind of goofy and kind of awkward in front of the camera, because, again, I like to be behind it.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Gebbin here, and I'm super excited to be with you on Wednesday. We're going to do this video in 60 seconds or less. Thank you very much. Just kidding. All right, let's go at it. So I am fired up. Find what you're passionate about, but keep trying. Even in my trying to find what lights me up, I keep failing. I keep doing things. I keep trying so I can find that thing. All right. All right. There you go, my friends. So, anything is possible. I used to say that, but I did not believe that. I really look at my life now and go, I thought that might be possible, but that's not possible over there. And I can promise you that, heck, just what's happened over the last few months in our world should prove a lot to a lot of people, depending on which way you want to look at it. Yeah, anything is possible. I used to be that person who was like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I'd rather be behind it. And now I'd almost rather never be behind it, if you will. So we evolve, we change, but we need to own into who we are right now. And yeah, so any questions, thoughts? I hope you enjoyed this today. If you want more of my story, if you're new here to me, if you don't, like I said, I'm in a few different places. You can always go to takemia.com. It's my audiobook. It's free to download. Really gets in depth. If you found energy in this, you want something else to give you a real like inspirational story about, you know, how you can use massive imperfect action to grow your business and to do what it is that you love. That's a great place to start. You can also go to themindmechanic.net. Check that out. But I do these on Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And yeah, here to bring you a little morning mind tune-up. Or if you're watching the replay, it might be afternoon, evening. It might already be tomorrow for some of you. Who knows? But I hope you found this valuable. Appreciate you all being here. Definitely reach out to me if you have any thoughts or comments or topics you'd like me to talk about and things to provide some perspective and to provide some thoughts on. Because like I said, my goal here is to provide, you know, people with an ability to see things in a different way, maybe than they had ever seen them before, where they can go to a different level. Maybe it's not about life not being anything bad per se, but rather you just want to unlock another level, get more time back. I mean, there's a number of things there. Or for those of you who are just really, really frustrated and anxious and worried and stressed, and, you know, this whole thing is really, what's going on in our world right now is really punched you in the face. I'm here to provide some relief, here to provide some different insight that can change your perspective some. So appreciate you all so much. And what else was I going to say? There was something else. There you have it. Rock and roll. Appreciate y'all. Have an amazing day. And where's it at here? There we go. Yeah. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend. If I don't see you, follow me on the old Facebook, and I put a lot of different things on there that'll light a fire in you. So rock and roll, my friends. Take care.